Welcome to Screen Facts with Jason Davis. Listen to the podcast every Wednesday for a discussion and trivia about a different film. Here's your host, Jason Davis.
Thanks, Kim. And joining me on the podcast this week, two guests. This is kind of cool, actually. My wonderful and beautiful and amazing wife, Sue.
Thanks, honey.
And my equally amazing stepson, Tommy.
Stop it.
The Moots in the house.
Hi.
We are, this is exciting because we are going to talk about a movie that has been enjoyed by now two generations in this household multiple times. The new Star Wars film is going to be arriving in theaters. So we thought we would talk about Star Wars, the original Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope. Tom, I'm going to go to you first. When was the first time you saw this movie? Do you remember?
When I was 5 or 6. I was in kindergarten, I think.
Okay, you're 14 now.
Okay.
So what was your first impression of this movie when you first saw it?
I was blown away. It was really cool because, you got to see everything, like this whole new movie. Even like back then in the mid-2000s, there were a lot of special effects, like modern. And then for that kind of special effects, it was really like different and cool. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was, pretty cool.
That's the great thing about this movie. Your mom and you and I saw this movie when it first came out in the theaters.
That's right.
I mean, it blew your mind when you first saw it. It changed movie making. There was nothing like this before. It really opened the door for all kinds of stuff afterwards.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the few movies that I even remember seeing as a kid. Escape from Witch Mountain and Star Wars. And besides that, I'm just assuming I went to every Disney movie that came out.
Yeah, I mean, Rocky was a big one for me as a kid,
right.
Seeing it in the theaters. And then this was probably the next one after that really stuck with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, Tommy, you didn't have a chance to see Star Wars in the movie theater. Have they re-released this in theaters since you've been alive?
No, they only re-released Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, in, yeah, I know, in the new remastered whatever ILM is doing these days. And I did see that because, it is Star Wars, and why not? It's in the theaters.
Okay.
But after that, they just dropped the idea. I don't know why, but they did.
So The Phantom Menace is the only Star Wars movie you've seen in theaters then?
Unfortunately.
Oh my God, that's fucking criminal.
I know.
Well, the good news for you is that we are a mere few weeks away from Episode 7 being released. And I don't know, I'm pretty excited for it. What do you think?
The Force Awakens.
That's right.
I am so excited.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good too.
It's going to be a whole new take because Disney's doing it. They have J.J. Abrams, who's a really great director. Mm-hmm. I have high hopes.
Yeah. There's a couple of things that I think this movie has going for it. J.J. Abrams. Mm-hmm. Disney does not put out garbage.
True.
And Lawrence Kasdan wrote the screenplay for this new Star Wars movie. And he wrote Jedi and Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Bring back some old blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So, and plus they have characters from the original series in this new movie. So, I mean, you gotta love that.
Oh my gosh. When I first saw the commercial, the trailer, and Han said Chewie were home, I just fell over.
Yeah.
I was crying.
That pretty much broke the internet, that trailer.
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. All right, so Star Wars, originally released May 25th, 1977. It was scheduled for a Christmas 1976 release. Pushed back because post-production, especially the special effects, took a little bit longer than expected.
Okay.
Not surprisingly.
I think it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
It was worth the wait.
It was definitely worth the wait. I mean, they did a great job. Written and directed, of course, by George Lucas. Production dates January of 1973 to April of 1977. So this was a few years in the making. This wasn't like a thing that they just threw together. I mean,
wow.
And that's probably including, script writing and figuring out how they're going to do all the special effects and sound and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So they filmed from March 22nd, 1976 to July 16th, 1976. And then they did some reshoots January 11th of 77 before they released it. Obviously, one of the most successful movies of all time.
Of course.
Yeah. Total lifetime gross of just under $461 million in the U.S., and just over $775 million worldwide. Now, when you adjust the domestic gross for inflation, it ranks second on the all-time list, behind Gone with the Wind, at just under $1.5 billion. It's the first movie to gross over $300 million, and not too bad, considering that they started off with a production budget of just $11 million.
Just $11 million.
$11 million back then was probably a lot, but, I mean, you think about what this movie has done, not only monetarily.
To everything.
Yeah, pop culture.
Yeah.
The merchandising.
Merchandising.
This movie, by the way, is the only Star Wars movie to be nominated for the Best Picture Oscar, which is sort of hard to believe. when you think about how many of these movies have been made and how great they are.
You'd think that Empire would have been nominated also.
Yeah, no. Lucas was nominated for Best Director and for Best Screenplay written directly for the screen. Alec Guinness was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Which is very interesting, and I'll explain why in a minute.
I'm sure he didn't bother listing it on his resume afterwards, though.
The film did win a couple of Oscars. It won for Best Art Direction, Set Decoration, Best Costume Design, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Effects, Visual Effects, Best Music, the Original Score, and a Special Achievement Award for the Alien, Creature, and Robot Voices.
You mean Leia's hair did not get nominated for anything?
Oh, gosh.
Disappointed.
Yeah. The music by John Williams is also ranked number 1 on AFI's 100 Years of Film Scores.
Absolutely.
So I mentioned George Lucas was nominated for the screenplay. Tommy, you were mentioning something interesting about George Lucas.
Yeah, in high school, he failed high school English. He was not the greatest student.
Yeah.
Wow. But he was able to graduate?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you mean like he didn't do well in English. Mm-hmm. He eventually probably passed the class.
So there's hope. There's a new hope for anyone struggling in their high school English classes?
Yeah. You can write a blockbuster movie someday.
Prior to the release, George Lucas showed an early cut of the film to a group of his film director friends. Brian De Palma reportedly called it the worst movie ever. However, Steven Spielberg correctly predicted the film would make millions of dollars. In fact, George Lucas was sure Close Encounters would outperform the yet-to-be-released Star Wars at the box office, and he proposed they trade 2.5% of the profit on each other's films. Spielberg took the trade and still receives 2.5% of the profits from Star Wars.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Smart move.
Yeah.
In fact, George Lucas didn't even attend the premiere. He was so sure the film would flop, he decided to just go on vacation to Hawaii with Spielberg. But that worked out good because that's where they came up with the idea for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
There you go. And, a lot of people involved in the movie, I've heard stories of how they thought it was going to be one of those, midnight showings, sort of like Rocky Horror, where people are yelling shit at the screen. And, you watch the movie and you could kind of see where that could happen.
Yeah, but it wasn't campy like those other kind of films.
I think it had a lot of the elements of the old Flash Gordon stuff where it was sort of, if you really look at it, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, it is a little kind of corny in a lot of ways. It's fun, it's great fun, and it's very well executed, and the characters are great. I really feel like the character development in the prequels is horrible, and that's why I don't think those movies are as good. They all were very big successes.
We cloned.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Control C.
Control V.
Yeah.
Control C, Control V.
Exactly. What films are better?
The prequels or the sequels?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the sequels. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. The original 3, episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry about it.
There's hope for mankind.
At holidays, we would stay at my uncle's house, me, my cousins, my dad, everybody. And we would all get up real early the next morning, say after Easter, just to watch Star Wars. I think we did that a few times, but I remember specifically one time we watched the movie, we're all cheering, we're all screaming, and eventually everybody else woke up, and they told us breakfast was ready. And that was the scene that Luke was about to shoot the proton torpedoes.
Oh, right at the climax of the film?
Yeah, and and my uncle...
Hold those eggs!
My uncle said, "No, we can't. The Death Star scene." It's great.
Yeah. Something that came out in 1977 is still a tradition, and it just transcends every other movie. It's amazing.
It does. Well, it's got very classic themes to it. The good versus evil, the princess in distress who really isn't that much in distress.
Right.
Friendship,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Love and hate. The keys to the dark side.
Another thing that's kind of interesting about this movie, too, that I've noticed, and you've mentioned it, too, anytime Tommy isn't feeling well, like if he's homesick from school, whatever, this is something that I feel like almost always you'll watch.
Oh, of course. Well, we have the time.
Yeah, well, not only the time, but it's almost like it's kind of like a
tradition.
It's like comfort
almost.
food.
Yeah, it's like comfort food, right?
Yeah, of course. Watching this, you're always, when you're sick, it kind of makes you feel better because you're sitting there.
Lifts you up, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, it lifts you up.
The major studios all rejected Star Wars because at the time science fiction was not really easy to market. It wasn't as popular, and George Lucas found a supporter in Alan Ladd Jr., who was then the head of 20th Century Fox. He had been impressed with the way Lucas directed American Graffiti a couple years earlier, And eventually Ladd was the guy who greenlit this movie. So, it's always good to know the right people, too. But 20th Century Fox was so sure that this film was going to be a disaster that they came within a matter of days of selling off their stake in the film as a tax shelter. You can imagine that.
Whoa.
Positive feedback from an advanced screening made them change their minds, and the profits from the film ended up saving the studio from bankruptcy. So what they were going to just make a tax write-off ended up saving them, which is crazy.
Good job.
Now, I mentioned before that Alec Guinness was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I never realized that.
I didn't either.
I don't know how I missed that.
I don't know.
All these years. But supposedly, Alec Guinness hated this movie. And his performance. He said that it was his idea to have Obi-Wan Kenobi killed off in the first film so he wouldn't have to, say any more of those rubbish lines and stuff.
Oh, well.
And then, for years after the movie, when fans would approach him and talk to him about how much they love Star Wars, he felt uncomfortable because he just didn't like the movie. He felt like he did other movies that were better.
That's interesting. I hate to interrupt, but I'm going to anyway, because that reminds me of another podcast we were speaking of where there was someone who didn't want to be associated with the movie that he was popular for.
You're talking about John Cusack and Better Off Dead.
I am, because it still bothers me.
That has been cleared up, though. He said, I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get off track because we got a lot to talk about.
I know.
I thought you were going to talk about Tom Wilson in Back to the Future.
Oh,
that's another one, too.
That's another.
Yeah. Listen,
Isn't that interesting?
I'm going to throw out a blanket statement right now to all the actors out there who don't want to be associated with their iconic roles. Guys, women, if you are fortunate enough to be part of something that is bigger than you, like Star Wars or Back to the Future, or even Better Off Dead, quite honestly, because a lot of people love that movie, embrace it. That's a beautiful thing that you are forever associated with.
Oh, I'll always be remembered as Obi-Wan. Where?
Yeah. That is a nice problem to have, if you ask me.
Exactly. I think it's awesome. The character itself is such a great role model for...
He's a mentor.
Yeah, as a mentor. He gives his life.
But, there's two sides to this story, and that's what I was getting to. George Lucas, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher have always said that Alec Guinness was very patient and helpful. He was very professional and respectful to the cast and crew.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, he didn't like the dialogue. He made no secret about that.
Mm-hmm.
But he accepted the role because, first off, he really thought Lucas did a great job on American Graffiti. Mm-hmm. And he read the script, and even though he didn't really like the dialogue, he was compelled to read the whole script, even though he wasn't a fan of science fiction. So that said something to him.
Okay, yeah. Because you want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and actually, of the final film, he remarked that he found it staggering as spectacle and technically brilliant, exciting, very noisy, and warm-hearted. The battle scenes at the end go on for 5 minutes too long.
Superman. Man of
Steel.
Oh.
Yeah, that's... don't get me started on that. But it remains a vivid experience. So I guess Sir Alec Guinness, eventually made peace with this. But I guess for years he just didn't want to be pigeonholed as Obi-Wan Kenobi. But hey, nice problem to have, dude.
Exactly. A lot of the actors had that problem.
Sure. I think actually the only person in this movie that went on to success in other things is certainly Harrison Ford. Mm-hmm. To be Han Solo and Indiana Jones,
there's not a bad movie he's in.
Yeah. Well, there is, but I know you're talking about fanboys.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I do want to just throw in a little something about fanboys here.
Yes, let's go ahead and mention
because
fanboys.
If you are a Star Wars fan and like nostalgia and a little tug on the heartstrings, I recommend the movie Fanboys.
Right.
About a group of Star Wars fanboys, and it comes out in the 90s. The first trilogy's done. Episode 1 is in the works. They're in their early 20s.
Yeah.
And they all
grew up on the original Star Wars movies. They find out that the new Star Wars movie is coming out, and they're all excited to see it together. And then one of the guys finds out that he's dying. And they say that he's going to die before the movie's released. So they decide, well, we're going to break into Skywalker Ranch, and we're going to get an early copy of the movie so you can see it before you die.
Right.
And so it's a quest to get across country to do that.
Right. But there's so much great Star Wars references.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the van with the R2 sticking out of it and the punch it to light speed. Oh, my gosh.
And the great thing is that even if you're not a super Star Wars geek, like I'm not, I'm a big fan of all the Star Wars movies. Well, these 3 Star Wars movies.
Of course.
I kind of like the prequels.
Let's clarify that.
Yeah, we got to say that. I mean,
whoa.
Yeah, pump the brakes there. I like Star Wars, but I'm definitely not what I would call a Star Wars geek. There
I
are
am.
people.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's cool.
That's why you're here tonight.
Fanboys, you'll appreciate it because the references that they make in the movie are not so obscure that you're going to be lost.
Right.
You know, the pedestrian Star Wars fan like myself can enjoy it.
They also reference Rush.
Yes. Rush, exactly.
How bad could it be?
Exactly. So in early drafts of the script, R2-D2 could speak English,
Crazy.
and he used a lot of foul language.
I can just imagine Kenny Baker's in his little R2-D2 suit,
Yeah.
kind of rolling around.
Yeah. The word Wookiee. This is an interesting one.
Yes, the word Wookiee actually came about as a result of an accident. When San Francisco DJ Terry McGovern was doing voiceover work on THX 1138 for George Lucas, he flubbed a line and he said, "I think I ran over a Wookiee back there." George Lucas was confused and asked what he meant by the term. Terry admitted that he didn't know and he just said he made it up. George Lucas remembered it when writing the script for Star Wars.
Boy, I make a lot of Wookiees on a regular basis when I do voiceovers. So.
Aw,
Is that
who
the new
doesn't?
thing? Oh, I made a Wookiee back there.
You are growing up in a time where special effects seem to be the whole reason they make movies nowadays. How do the special effects in this compare to what you see nowadays? Now, knowing, of course, that things were a lot more primitive back then, it's probably a lot easier to animate things with computers and stuff nowadays. What do you think of that?
Well, nowadays it's all done totally separately than just added in at the end. And back then it was like a whole process. It was an art form. I mean, it kind of still is if you're passionate about it.
Oh, absolutely.
It was an art form back then, going frame by frame, adding in the light for the lightsabers, going into the blasters, even like the little stuff like when they turn off the lightsabers. It's you can kind of see how it's done. Nowadays it flows a little better, which
Sure.
You can't complain about that.
It's more
but,
seamless.
Oh yeah. The special effects from Star Wars, I really still think they hold up.
Yeah, it's amazing, right?
Oh yeah. How were they able to do all that?
It's pretty amazing how creative, and of course George Lucas has done special editions where he's, added things which are really unnecessary. To me, it's almost like painting a mustache on the Mona Lisa.
Oh.
I'm serious, And
Yeah,
this is a moment in time that doesn't need enhancement.
And when they do the giant walking creature in the Mos Eisley's for the transition
Yeah.
to the stormtrooper cut, that's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's just,
You're watching it, you're like,
why is there a big thing walking across the frame right now?
Didn't I hear, though, that George Lucas put in those kind of things because he said that was his whole vision for the movie in the beginning, but he couldn't do it back then? So
Maybe.
once he had the chance to add in, he did?
Yeah, but did it really
hear that,
make
maybe?
things better? The only thing I could see, listen, adding the Praxis wave to the explosion of the Death Star, I'm okay with that. It makes the explosion bigger and more amazing. That kind of stuff is cool.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, exactly. Spoiler alert.
hey.
Hey, if you've never seen Star Wars, God help you.
Oh, my gosh.
Lordy.
Listen, if you've never seen Star Wars, you're not listening to this. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so some of the stuff is okay, I guess, if it makes the scene better in some way. But just to throw like a random creature in there for no good reason, I don't get that.
Right.
And another thing where they added in the remasters, there's one of the greatest movie goofs. It's one of the funniest. I say midway through the movie, C-3PO and R2-D2 just came out of the closet. The storage closet.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not Bert and Ernie or anything.
Hey. And the squadron of stormtroopers is marching up to R2-D2 and C-3PO. One of the stormtroopers is too tall for the doorway.
Right.
So he clunks his head
Right.
on the doorway, keeps walking, and the scene continues.
Right.
It's not really noticeable, but in the remasters, George Lucas added a clunk.
Yeah, like the sound of him hitting
A
his head.
bunk, because they couldn't take it out. So why not just enhance it?
And the funny thing is, why bring attention to that?
Right,
though?
right.
There's a lot.
Awesome.
So George Lucas came up with the name R2-D2 during post-production of American Graffiti, actually. One of the sound crew wanted Lucas to retrieve reel number 2 of the second dialogue track. In post-production jargon, this came out as, "Could you get R2-D2 for me?" Lucas liked the sound of that and remembered it when he wrote the script.
He must have carried a little notebook around with
You
them.
know, you'd have
Wookiee,
to-
that's interesting. Oh, R2-D2.
You'd have to
use
ring
that
some.
one day.
Well, I think a lot of creative people
I
do
can
that,
use that
you know. I think, songwriters certainly carry some sort of a, either a notebook or a recorder, something that if they get an idea, they can jot it down because otherwise you forget it.
Yeah, because also the word Jedi he heard of ahead of time because it comes from the Japanese words Jedi Geki, which translates as period adventure drama. And that's a Japanese TV soap opera set in the samurai days. George Lucas actually mentioned in an interview that he saw one of these programs on TV while in Japan a year or so before the movie was made, liked the word.
Yeah,
so in the Lucas notebook, it must have gone.
Where is that notebook?
Wonder if Disney owns that too.
Wow.
So George Lucas also originally wasn't going to use Anthony Daniels' voice for the voice of C-3PO. He only changed his mind after a suggestion by Stan Freberg, who's one of the actors considered as Daniels' replacement. C-3PO was originally supposed to be like a used car salesman, if you could believe that. What's it going to take to get you in a new land speeder today? Something like that maybe? I don't know.
Interesting. In Fanboys, one of the characters' dads is a used car salesman.
Maybe that's why.
I wonder.
So Luke's original last name was going to be Starkiller, which is very odd.
Yeah.
I think I read a comic with like Starkiller or something.
Yeah, Luke Starkiller. Lucas had second thoughts about that and changed it to Skywalker. Starkiller would later be used as the name of the Sith apprentice in Star Wars The Force Unleashed. In honor of Lucas, J.J. Abrams named the First Order base seen in the upcoming Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens, Starkiller Base. So there you go.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine him with a Starkiller name.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes from a farming family.
Yeah, Skywalker's is better for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And Skywalker is cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Okay, everybody, let's just think about the very first time Luke has that scene where he walks over and he looks at the two suns.
Yes.
The two setting suns. My mind was blown by that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, the two suns is it's
two
iconic.
suns. That's so cool.
Totally iconic.
And then I thought, wow, it must be very hot there.
So, when this movie was in the process of being shopped around and everything, it was a who's who of pretty much every popular actor and actress of the time was being considered or auditioned for this. So we're going to really quickly run down some of the people who turned down roles in this movie.
Oh boy.
It's a long list, so really quick. So James Caan, Jack Nicholson, Robert De Niro, and Burt Reynolds turned down the role of Han Solo. Kurt Russell, Nick Nolte, Christopher Walken, Al Pacino, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, Bill Murray, Robert Englund, yes, Freddy Krueger, Sylvester Stallone, John Travolta, and Perry King were all candidates for the role of Han Solo as well.
Sylvester Stallone as
Sylvester
Han Solo.
Stallone. Remember, he's coming off of Rocky.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's the big thing. So,
Sure.
Chewbacca.
hey, yo.
Chewbacca.
Hey, yo, punch it, Chewbacca. So George Lucas also wanted to stay away from any actors that he had previously worked with in other films. So Harrison Ford, who was in American Graffiti, read the part of Han Solo for screen tests of other characters, but wasn't originally considered for the part. During the screen tests, Lucas realized that Harrison Ford was perfect for the role, and that's how he got the role. So.
That's right. Now, see, when I've had auditions, when I'm directing a show, people will come out and write what parts they want. And I'll read them in the scene. And then sometimes, when they're, reading something else in another scene off of somebody else, all of a sudden you just look at them and go, that's the person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can see that happening.
And, every time we talk about casting and who could have been and so on, I can't imagine anybody but Harrison Ford playing Han Solo.
He is Han Solo.
Absolutely. PJ Soles, Sissy Spacek, Nancy Allen, Farrah Fawcett, Glenn Close, Barbara Hershey, Bernadette Peters, Bonnie Bedelia, John McClane's wife in Die Hard, Diane Wiest, Margot Kidder, Jessica Lange, Meryl Streep, Sigourney Weaver, Sybil Shepherd, Christine Lottie, Jane Seymour, Angelica Houston, Catherine Hicks, Christine Baranski, Kathleen Turner, Deborah Winger, and Gina Davis all auditioned for the role of Princess Leia.
Oh, could you see Kathleen Turner doing Princess Leia? Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Yeah, I can't do it. Oh, my gosh.
Linda Blair, Pamela Sue Martin, Teresa Russell, and Jill Clayburgh were considered as well.
Wow.
For Princess Leia?
Yeah. Again, Carrie Fisher, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Just awesome in the role. It's funny, the first three names that I mentioned, PJ Soles, Sissy Spacek, and Nancy Allen, all from the film Carrie, which was directed by Brian De Palma the year before Star Wars came out.
The guy who said that this was the worst movie he'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Yep. TIE fighters that the Imperial forces fly.
Yes.
The light attack craft?
Yeah, gas. I always thought they were called TIE fighters because they look like bow ties.
Thank you.
They're not that, though, are they?
Twin ion engines.
Who knew?
It's an acronym.
Yes, who knew? Apparently, George Lucas is not a great director either to work with.
That's right. I heard that he was a little uncommunicative towards the actors.
Yeah.
And his directions would be either faster or more intense. And at one point, when he temporarily lost his voice, the crew provided him with a board with just those 3 words written on it.
He just pointed.
Yeah, faster,
depending on what
more
he wanted.
intense.
Darth Vader was the first character that George Lucas created for the story, but he only has 12 minutes of screen time in this film.
12 minutes.
That's mind-blowing when you think about it. The movie's about 2 hours or so.
Yeah.
And there's only 12 minutes of Darth Vader on the screen. And, we talked about this with the Jurassic Park podcast a while back, that the dinosaurs are only on screen for about the same amount of time.
And Darth Vader's so iconic.
Oh,
it's crazy.
He's the whole movie.
I mean, even with him, like 12 minutes, and that even includes like when they're showing him in the fighter and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's what I read, so it's got to be true, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a character who makes an impression, huh?
Yeah.
And, there's a little bit of interesting information about the name Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go back to the Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect podcast, people. Dark Father, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that? Yeah.
In German, it's Vater.
Right.
Yes.
But in Dutch, Vader means father.
There you, thank you.
The word Vader is close to the word for toilet in Italian, so he has a different name in the Italian version of this.
That is
wow.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't want to know about any dark toilets.
So the 2 actors who played Darth Vader, James Earl Jones as the voice and David Prowse as the physical form of him, they've never met, which
Wow.
is kind of interesting.
Okay.
Wow.
When the movie originally came out, James Earl Jones specifically requested that he not be credited as the voice of Darth Vader. At the time, he said that he felt that he had not done enough work to get the billing. But later on, he admitted that he didn't want his name associated with the film because he was still kind of an up-and-coming actor, and he thought that he would be typecast.
Oh, wow.
The voice.
Yeah, he does.
I
He
mean,
does
his
receive.
voice is amazing.
He is credited in the sequels and in the 1997 special edition because by that time everybody knew that it was him. So, and it's interesting that David Prowse was still disgruntled more than 20 years after the film's release about the fact that his voice was replaced by James Earl Jones.
Oh, my gosh.
If you want to look up something funny, go on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Type in the search box Darth Vader's real voice or something like
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see clips from a behind the scenes thing or whatever of David Prowse actually doing the dialogue in the Darth Vader outfit. It's really funny.
For the scene in which Luke and Leia swing to safety, Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill performed that stunt themselves, shooting it in just 1 take.
That's pretty amazing. So Dennis Lawson, who plays Wedge Antilles,
My boy.
he's the real-life uncle of Ewan McGregor, who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool.
That is very interesting.
The lightsaber sound effect is a combination of the hum of an idling 35mm movie projector and the feedback generated by passing a stripped microphone cable by a television.
That is oddly specific.
The guy who did the sound effects, Ben Burt is his name?
Yeah, Ben Burt.
Yeah, this guy was a genius.
Really? Yeah. Because, I
Totally.
mean, what did they have back then?
That's just it.
You know?
Like you had to be super creative coming up with all this different stuff. And
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
The way they did Darth Vader's, when he crushed someone's throat,
Yes.
they did like a bowl of fruit and they smashed walnuts in it.
Okay.
Just to create the sounds
Yep.
of him throttling someone.
Nice.
Foley artists on a film are some of the most unsung heroes because they come up with so much creativity to make things come to life on the screen. It's really amazing.
Yeah,
to me.
super cool. And wasn't Chewbacca, wasn't that a bear sound? And like
Yeah.
large
And-
mammals?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Ben Burt said that Chewbacca makes all these different sounds. They came from a couple of different large mammals, mostly bears.
Yeah, yeah.
There was one particular zoo-kept grizzly that was an invaluable source of Chewbacca sounds, as he put it.
Aw.
So, and R2-D2 sounds are various people, mostly Burt, making baby-like sounds, and sometimes actual recordings of babies electronically manipulated to sound mechanic.
Babies. Wow.
Peter Mayhew, who plays Chewbacca, by the way, worked as an orderly
Wow.
in a hospital in Yorkshire, and he won the role 10 seconds after meeting George Lucas just by standing up.
Well, there you go.
7'2". Oh, I got my Wookiee. There you go.
Oh, I made a Wookiee back there.
Yeah. And he's 7'2".
Of course, the big thing is R2-D2 with the message, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." Princess Leia doesn't ever actually meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, that's right.
It's just kind of odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she chose him because he served her father in the Clone Wars.
Right.
The only time they've come close is Obi-Wan and Darth Vader are fighting
Right.
while the gang is all running to the Millennium
gang.
Falcon,
The Peanuts.
right? To escape, right?
Yeah. This movie is another great story of a guy gambling on himself. That was one of the things about Rocky that really blows me away, which I talk about in the Rocky podcast.
The very first
first podcast,
Good
for
podcast.
Rocky. But George Lucas took a real gamble, and he waived the normal writer-director fee and asked for a mere $175,000 plus 40% of the merchandising rights. Now, merchandising was a big failure for Dr. Dolittle in 1967. So studio executives were going, that sounds like a good deal for us. Sign it. Of course, Star Wars merchandised it a little bit better than Dr. Dolittle.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
In fact, Kenner Toys signed on for the merchandising shortly before Star Wars opened, thinking that they would have, kind of a modest line of toys. Nobody really realized how much of a hit this movie was going to be. So they actually didn't produce enough toys to handle the demand for Christmas. And they were giving out like empty boxes with a kind of like a rain check in the box.
Oh, that's so sad.
That's
It
a
is.
box of disappointment.
Yeah, I guess if you're a kid, that would totally be a
That
disappointment.
would, oh my gosh,
I think
can
it would
you
be
imagine?
cool. I wonder if there's a collector out there that has one of these empty boxes with the thing, the note in there. That would be amazing.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not cool, but they
It's
got it.
with
but-
George Lucas's notebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The cool thing about George Lucas's gamble is that the money that he made from the merchandise allowed him to kind of free himself from the studio system. He was able to make the other movies completely independent of the studio system that he wasn't really a big fan of. So he financed Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi himself with Lucasfilm. He ended up having to take out a bank loan. I'm going to talk about that in the next podcast,
Okay.
but that's amazing.
Who would have thought?
It's funny because, for a guy
Oh,
that
of
thought
course.
the movie was going to be a flop,
Yeah.
to gamble on like toys being a big seller.
I know.
know?
So it came out in 1977. It's 2015 now, so that was like, 10,
38 years?
15
Yeah.
years
Oh.
ago. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
And like there's still Star Wars official merchandise. Like Party City is selling the costumes and there's sheets.
It's bigger than ever
There's-
now. Are you kidding me?
Man.
And with this new movie coming out, forget it. It's like Star Wars is going to be part of Americana forever and ever. I mean, it's great.
When we were kids, it was a big deal if you had a lunchbox. But
Yeah.
now you could like do your whole dorm room in Star
Oh,
Wars
yeah.
stuff if you wanted to.
Pitch
Pitch
perfect.
perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's always amazing when something comes out in the world that pretty much the whole world like latches onto. And Star Wars, without a doubt. I mean,
With a tractor beam.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's probably people in the world that don't really like Star Wars or don't care about Star Wars. But let's face it, the majority of the people in the world, even if they're not huge fans, can relate.
I'm sure they've heard of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think the entire world has heard of it.
Oh, the entire
Even
world
people
has
who
heard
live
of it.
under rocks.
Yeah, the entire world has heard of it, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think the entire galaxy has heard about it.
Ooh, very nice. So the following characters have said, I have a bad feeling about this.
Nice. My favorite line.
Yeah, it's a recurring thing. Obi-Wan Kenobi in episode 1, Anakin episode 2, Obi-Wan again in episode 3, Luke in episode 4, Han in episode 4, Leia in episode 5, and C-3PO in episode 6.
That's right.
The question is, who will say it in episode 7?
I wonder.
This is also the only Star Wars film in which neither Yoda nor Palpatine make an appearance.
Okay.
Yoda is not mentioned as the character has not yet been created, and Palpatine, whose name is never said in the classic trilogy, is mentioned but referred to only as the Emperor.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, later on we know he's Emperor Palpatine.
Right. So according to the exhibit at the Smithsonian, the sound of a TIE fighter is created by combining the squeal of a young elephant with the sound of a car driving by on a rain-slicked highway.
Ben Bird is crazy.
That is totally crazy.
That's amazing.
I would love to be in the room with him while he's creating all this.
Could you imagine? That'd be fun. He created the sound of Darth Vader's breathing by placing a small microphone in the second stage, the mouthpiece of a scuba regulator, and then recording the sound made by his breathing through the regulator.
So the sounds of the lasers were made by striking a metal wrench up the steel reinforcement cables of a high-voltage electricity pylon.
That sounds dangerous.
I was going to say it does.
Aren't those long lines of power pylons that crisscross most countries?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's electricity going through them.
Yeah.
Let's just take a metal wrench and whack
Why
it and
not?
see what happens.
Someone's in their house, their lights are flickering. Like, I wonder if Ben Burtt's making a Star Wars movie now.
Exactly. So George Lucas had ILM designers watch archival footage of World War II dogfights as a reference point for the final battle over the Death Star. That's kind of cool, actually.
That's super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And that it really does lend itself. Like when you watch those scenes, it really does feel like a classic war movie. It's pretty cool.
Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher are of Swedish and Jewish ancestry, respectively. In prequels, their parents would be played by Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman, who also have Swedish and Jewish ancestry.
Very interesting, right?
Man, the connections in this movie are real.
Very cool.
It's cool,
Very
right?
cool, yep. I love the fact that there was cardboard cutouts used because their budget was only $11 million.
Oh, yeah, you know. It's like
So for
50
some of the
cents a
background starfighters in the Rebel hangar bay were cardboard cutouts. And also what I did not know was that most of the crowd watching the heroes receive their medallions in the final scene. Cardboard cutouts.
Yeah. I couldn't tell.
Hard to tell.
Yeah. By the way, why didn't Chewie get a medal?
What the heck?
He is the first mate of the Millennium Falcon.
By
Put
God.
the hamburgers up with that.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that this movie's been a part of my life for a long, long time. And now to have my son even more into it than I ever was is just so cool to me.
All right, Mom, let's have a nerd off right now.
Yeah. All right, you would win. But when I was a kid, there weren't, you know how you have all those books and everything that's like extra reference?
I have many of them.
Yeah.
Like
now,
that
now,
didn't
of course,
exist when I was a kid.
You can go online too and see all kinds of stuff about Star Wars too, probably.
I couldn't go
Wikipedia.
online when I was 11.
Did you just say Wikipedia?
That is the official Wikia of Star Wars.
Wikipedia?
Wikipedia.
I love it. That's great. So how excited are the two of you to see Episode 7?
I am psyched.
Beyond excited.
You're finally going to see probably what's going to be a real Star Wars movie in the theater,
Oh, yeah. Real, thanks.
as opposed to that Phantom Menace crap. Guys, thanks for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And we'll have to do another one together again soon.
Yes.
If you have any questions or comments, please email screenfacts@yahoo.com. You can also tweet me at Jason Davis Voice or facebook.com/screenfacts. Also, please rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. If you've enjoyed this or other episodes of the podcast, please tell people. Let people know about it. Help us spread the word. And thanks again also to our announcer, Kim, from kimsvoice.com. Again, it's KYMSvoice.com. Thanks to you for listening. Check this out.
Screen Facts with Jason Davis is a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Please visit jasondavisvoice.com if you need a voice for a commercial, narration, promo, internet video, e-learning or training program, and more. Click on the podcast page to purchase a t-shirt and support the show, or get information about where you can download and listen to past episodes. Listen again next Wednesday for a new episode of Screen Facts with Jason Davis.